Good evening. This is Rabbi David Ostriker for KosherTube.com. As many of you are aware, we had one of the worst ice storms in history in Toronto last Sunday. Many people suffered from this. It was a very difficult time. Many people still are without power because of the weight of the ice, either on the wires themselves or on tree branches that broke and fell onto high-tension wires, causing power outages throughout the city, Toronto, Greater Toronto, and north of Toronto. People have gathered together, helping each other. Public buildings where the power is on have helped each other. Shuls have provided warmth and heat and food in many cases to help one another. There has been a sense of camaraderie which has been very wonderful during this difficult time. And for that we owe thanks to each and every individual who was part of that process. Tonight, however, Thursday night at 6:20 p.m., I want to deal with an issue that is of some urgency in preparation for Shabbos. Shabbos is a time beginning at sunset Friday night, going to sunset Saturday night roughly, is a time put aside to rest from the labors of the mundane labors of the week. It's a time of remembrance of the final day of creation, when in fact God created rest for us. And so we're obligated, in fact, to take this time off and to enjoy this moment. It's really a taste of the world to come for many of us, and that's our goal. Time to commune with God, time to be with family, and time to put aside the hurly-burly of daily life. In order to accomplish this, the Torah set out 39 forms of labor called malachas, which are prohibited on Shabbos, in order that we should fully enjoy this rest. One of those labors is the prohibition against carrying objects from public areas to private areas. Now, this creates some hardship in major cities where people want to take their children to shul in carriages, or carry their talis to shul, or their siddur to shul, whatever. Their key outside so that they can open and close their doors. As a consequence of this, many communities have developed a concept called the Eruv. The Eruv is a way of combining private domains into one very large domain. And this is done through fencing in those domains into one large communal domain. The most common way of doing this is to use high wires to close the gaps in the walls and fences that surround the larger domain. As you can imagine, one of the victims of this ice storm is not just the electrical wires and the cable wires, but also the wires of the domain of the Eruv. And consequently, we've been notified that the Eruv at this time, at 6:25 p.m. on Thursday night, is not up, and as a result, you're not permitted to carry objects in Toronto on Shabbos. We've been notified of this by the Toronto Eruv organization. They advise us that you should call them at the last minute to check and see if the Eruv is up, but if you do not hear that it is up, you should assume it is not. Their phone number, their hotline number is 416-350-2879. I'll repeat that, 416-350-2879. And you can also reach them through their website, torontoeruv.org. KosherTube will also have a banner up to the last minute announcing whether the Eruv is up or not. So you can also check our website, KosherTube.com. You're there now. On top of it, the organization, the Eruv organization, has some very specific advice for the community that is used to carrying objects within the Eruv on Shabbos. So let me read you from their note, their urgent letter to the Toronto community. It reads, "One may not carry his talis outside, however one may wear it to shul." That is to say, you can don your talis, put your talis on before you leave your house, put your overcoat on over it, and then head off to shul. And if you want to bring it back, you should bring it back in the same form, as an article of clothing rather than something you carry in a talis bag. One may not carry a key, but one may tie a string to the ends of the key and wear it as a belt. However, it must be used as a link in the belt. One must be careful not to tie or untie a permanent knot on Shabbos. Personal recommendation from me in this is that what you do is you take the whole of the ring of the key and you take an elastic that is the size of a belt for yourself, tie one end here, tie the other end here, right? So that the elastic is held by 2 knots around the ring, around the hole in the key. And then you can put that elastic over your head and use it as a belt under your shirt. And when you want to unlock your door, because it's elastic, you can pull it forward, unlock the door, and put it back in. Right? You can't actually put the elastic, put the key as something that can slide up and down on the ring or something around your neck. It has to actually have a function, and the key itself has to be part of that function. Item 3. Condominiums and apartments may need their own Eruv in order to carry from an apartment to the hallway or a shared area. For instance, if you wish to take a newspaper in from outside, it's become a problem, potentially a problem now. You should ask your Rav how to deal with this. Number 4, one may not carry a child or push a stroller. In certain circumstances, if it is necessary, one may be able to have a non-Jew carry or push on their behalf. A Rav should be consulted for this as well. Many porches, which would include backyards obviously as well, may not be considered to be your private domain for technical reasons. You should consult your Rav on this issue as well. This could mean that if you put something in a mailbox outside, you can't bring it into your house because you're moving it from a public domain to a private domain, if in fact your mailbox is in the public domain. You should consult your Rav on this. Needless to say, in issues where health and serious danger to health is involved, all of these things are pushed aside for the welfare of a person who could be seriously ill. I thank you very much. I wish you a good Shabbos. We hope that the Eruv is up, but at this point we should assume it is not. KosherTube will keep you informed as we go forward. And please keep KosherTube in mind, as a public service, as a learning service, and as something we can do for you. And please keep us in mind for a contribution to help us move on to KosherTube 2.0, which is going to deal with all the issues that you've been asking about, things like MP3 downloads, things like better search, more intuitive search, and we're going to be mobile device accessible once we get the apps built for that as well. Again, thank you and good Shabbos, and thank you to the KosherTube team that has been so helpful in this process.